So some types of pay dirt, and I'm going to cover each of these. So I want you to write down all of the topics so that you have them as placeholders in your notes, okay? The first one is infill development, and the second one is land development. Now let's talk about infill development. It is the process of developing vacant or underused parcels within an existing urban area that are already largely developed. Most communities have significant vacant land within city limits, which for various reasons have been passed over in the normal course of urbanization. Infill development takes place within unused or underused urban spaces situated between functional buildings, also known as, please write this term down, land recycling. Now, profit comes from building somewhere where there are existing people and existing demand for housing. Now, in the picture that you guys can see kind of in the background of this slide, what you can see is a large building on the left, a large building on the right, and then this vacant lot sandwiched right in between the two of them. Now, why did this happen? Well, it's not uncommon for a developer who's building units like these to keep a lot for themselves, thinking that, well, we'll keep the lot, we'll land bank it, so, we can absorb some of our profits in that dirt, not sell it, and then we can revisit it at a later time if we choose to. But unfortunately, a later time gets pushed out. You can even see on the back fence of this vacant lot graffiti to suggest that this thing's probably been sitting there for a while. Also, the age of the buildings on both sides. This has been sitting there a while. Now, if the developer or the owner doesn't do something with the land, it is very common for people to carry land in cash. And that's great to not have a mortgage against an asset. Well, here's the disadvantage. When you carry an asset like dirt in cash, there is no escrow account, okay? Many of you guys have a mortgage on your home residence, and every month you make a payment, and in your payment it includes taxes and insurance, and those are held in an escrow account, or what's called an impound account, and those taxes will then be paid by your lender to the taxing authority every quarter, bi-monthly, biannually, whatever your county requires for tax payments, so that the lender can ensure that the property taxes are being paid, because a property tax lien is senior to a first mortgage. So if you don't pay your taxes and the property goes to tax lien sale, it literally can wipe out the bank's note. And so that's why they require escrow impounds to ensure that your property taxes are being paid and that your property insurance is being paid. Unfortunately, when you own things in cash, you now have to self-manage property taxes being paid and insurance bills being paid. And land is easy to forget because there's not a lot of bills associated with it other than property taxes. There's not a lot of reason to insure it. If you fence it up and say no trespassing, nobody should be in there, so you're not going to have liability insurance concerns. And because of that, it becomes very forgettable. Many of you don't know this, but one of the largest property types that ends up going to tax lien sale or tax auction, depending on what state you are in, is vacant lots. And many of them are in urban areas like these, and they're what the city refers to as an infill lot. Now, the city would like to see that lot converted into something that would produce a monthly income. Because if there's a monthly income, they can increase the tax rate to that dirt and thus increase revenue to the taxing authority, which is them. Most municipalities have a massive shortage of affordable housing, as well as housing for the homeless populations. Now, many of you live in big urban cities where homelessness has become a major concern for a lot of cities across America. And cities are looking for developers like you and me to come in and acquire or create a plan around some of these infill lots that could help solve the city's need for affordable housing, for their Section 8 programs, as well as housing of the homeless community. And if you can come to them with such a plan, it is not uncommon for the city to either gift you the dirt, meaning give it to you for free, or partner with you on the development, where not only do you get the dirt for free, but the city will also come in, and if there's a down payment requirement to get construction financing, the city will float that, and they can give it to you as a loan, a low interest loan, a no payback loan, as long as you commit to provide housing for low income for 20 years, then it will be forgiven after that period of time. There are so many government grants and opportunities available for funding for these types of projects. It would literally blow your mind how much money is available for these types of properties. Now, changing demographics and preferences in the next 20 years, the needs and preferences of aging baby boomers, new households, and one-person households will drive real estate market trends, and infill locations are likely to attract many of these people. Now, we saw, you guys, suburban sprawl as a result of COVID. Now, prior to COVID, we were seeing urban sprawl, where there's an emphasis of people moving back into the downtown corridor because Zillow created for us this wonderful thing called a walkability score. And if you can walk from your home to the grocery store, to the tavern, to retail, to the movie house, the more amenities that are available to you within walking distance of your primary residential residence, the higher the value. Well, this was the trend, and everybody was moving back into town. And then COVID hit, and people decided, hey, you know what? I don't want to have people above me and below me and beside me, and I want to get back out into the country or somewhere where I've got a little bit more space. I want land. And so that became the big trend. I can assure you guys within the next 18 months, all of those people are going to put those properties up for sale, and they're going to go back into those urban districts. Why? Because people who have never lived on land have no idea how much work land is. Land is no picnic. It sounds great in theory. I personally live on 10 acres. I got 3 tractors because there's a lot of maintenance that goes with owning land. And people are discovering this. It's a lot of work. And the millennials don't want to do the work. So urban infill is going to be the trend, which works out perfectly for what we're talking about here, because by the time we identify the dirt, put the plan together, and get it back on market, we are 10, 12 months out, which is going to be the perfect time to bring these types of opportunities to market. Now, as more people choose to live in infill neighborhoods, employers are following, and vice versa. Many corporations are moving to infill locations, in part because they recognize the competitive advantage of being closer to the central city.